The stars outside the academy windows shimmered like distant dreams. A massive station floated in the middle of space, orbiting a blue gas giant. This was Zircona Prime Galactic Academy, the most elite school in the galaxy. Only the best from each planet were allowed here. Aliens with glowing skin, wings, multiple eyes, or voices like songs filled the great halls. But today, everyone's attention was on one student, a human dot. His name was Eli Cross. He sat in the back of the class, quiet, still. Nobody sat beside him. No one looked at him kindly. To them, he was nothing, a joke, a weak species from a backwater planet Earth. It had been missing from the galaxy's spotlight for over 300 years. No major trade, no influence, no military. Just a lonely blue dot, forgotten. And yet, here Eli was, in the most advanced school in the universe. Why is he even here? Someone whispered. He probably bribed his way in. Humans can't even survive high gravity. What a joke. The voices were sharp, but Eli didn't react. He kept his eyes forward, his expression blank. But inside, something burned. Then, she entered. Clara of Zyrene, the daughter of the High Matriarch, the best student in the academy. Tall, graceful, with shimmering violet skin and golden eyes. Everyone respected her. Many feared her. Today, she was giving her presentation in interstellar culture, a class that studied ancient civilizations. She walked to the front, confident and calm. Her voice was clear. Today, I will speak about the primitive planet Earth. Some students snickered already. Eli didn't move. Clara turned to face the class. She smiled coldly. Earth, she began, was known for its emotional instability, wars, pollution, and limited space travel. Its people thought fire and machines made them powerful. More laughter. They named themselves the center of the universe. And yet, they vanished. Not because they evolved, but because they couldn't keep up. Her golden eyes landed on Eli. He met her gaze, but said nothing. They called themselves human, she continued, voice dripping with sarcasm. But perhaps foolish would be more accurate. Even the instructor gave a small smile. Nobody corrected her. Nobody stood for Eli. Clara turned back to the class. Let us learn from their example. Arrogance without strength leads to extinction. The class applauded. Eli stood up silently and left the room. The teacher didn't stop him. No one did. Outside, the hallway was empty. Cold metal walls, lined with neon lights. Eli walked slowly, his footsteps quiet. He stopped near a window, looking out at the stars. His reflection stared back. A thin boy, average height, brown hair, but his eyes were different. Gray, focused, old. He closed his eyes. He remembered Earth. He remembered the training, the missions, the reason he was here. He whispered to himself, "They still think we disappeared." He opened his eyes again. But we were never gone. Just watching. Back in the classroom, Clara sat down, but her smile faded. Something about Eli's stare stayed with her. It wasn't fear or anger. It was something else. Calm, cold, controlled. Later that day, she walked past the academy archives. Out of curiosity, she searched Eli's profile. Access Dionidishi. Tried again. Same result. A human. Students should not have protected files. Not even she, a royal Zyrene, could open them. Why? That night, she watched security footage. Eli walking alone, entering corridors no student used. Doors opening without key cards. Systems responding to his presence. He was not just a boy. Not just a human. Something didn't fit. Clara leaned back in her chair. Her heart beat faster. Had she mocked someone who was far more dangerous than he appeared? She remembered the words he said to no one. Whispers picked up by hidden mics. We were never gone, just watching. She didn't know what it meant. Not yet, but something had begun. Not just in the academy, not just in her heart, in the stars themselves. Something was moving, something old, something human, and Eli Cross was at the center of it. The stars outside shimmered softly, but inside Zircona Prime Academy, shadows moved. Clara stood near the observation deck, watching the faint trail of Eli's movements on her wrist scanner. She didn't know why she was following him. She told herself it was curiosity. But deep down, something else stirred, something she didn't want to name. It was past curfew. Students were not allowed in the lower levels of the station. Yet Eli was heading there. Without fear, without hesitation, Clara moved fast and silent through empty halls. Security droids hovered nearby, but none stopped her. She reached the last hallway and paused behind a corner. Eli stood before a sealed door. There was no keypad, no scanner, just a solid wall of metal. He placed his palm on it. The door unlocked with a soft hiss. No access code, no identity check. The door knew him, as if it was made for him. Clara's breath caught in her throat. Who was he? She waited until he disappeared inside. Then she stepped forward, slow, careful. The door remained open just long enough. She slipped in quietly. Inside, the air was cooler. Dim lights glowed along the floor. The room was filled with Earth technology, not the kind from public history books. This was advanced, silent, efficient. In the center stood a crystal sphere, floating above a pedestal. Soft blue light pulsed. Within it, she reached out. "Don't touch that," Eli said from the shadows. She turned sharply. He wasn't angry. He looked calm, as always, but this time, his voice held weight, like someone used to command. "You followed me," he said. "I had questions," she replied, trying to sound confident. "You never answer in class. Your files are locked, and you opened a restricted door with your hand. That's not normal." Eli stepped into the light. He didn't look surprised, just tired. "Then maybe it's time I give you answers," he said. She waited. He pointed to the sphere. "That's a terracore, a data crystal from Earth's hidden archive." Clara frowned. "Earth doesn't have this kind of technology." Eli smiled slightly. "That's what they want the galaxy to believe." He walked slowly around the room. 300 years ago, Earth withdrew from the Galactic Council. The universe thought we fell behind, that we gave up. But the truth is, we vanished on purpose. Clara didn't move. She was listening now, fully. "We saw what was coming," Eli continued. "A war, a cycle, civilizations rise, and something comes to tear them down. The harvesters," she whispered. He nodded. "They destroyed 12 star systems in the last century alone, but Earth, we survived. Barely." He pointed to the holographic wall. A flicker of light revealed a battle. Huge machines, black ships, worlds breaking apart. Talara's eyes widened. This was never in the records, because Earth erased the records. We didn't want to be found. We went underground. We evolved in silence. And now, he paused. "There, coming back." Clara stepped forward. "But why are you here? In the academy?" Eli looked at her, deep into her eyes. "I was sent to observe, to find out which species are ready to stand with Earth when the next war begins." She laughed softly. "You think my people would stand with you? You saw what they did, how they laughed at you." Eli nodded. "I saw, and I don't blame them." She blinked. "You don't?" "No. Because we made them think humans were weak. That was the plan. Hide our strength. Stay quiet. Train in secret. Let the galaxy believe Earth is nothing." He walked back to the sphere. "You asked why my files are locked, why I could open the door, why the AI systems respond to me. It's because I'm not just a student." He looked at her again. "I'm a field operative, born on Earth, trained in gravity 10 times higher than here, trained in silence, in pain, impatience. Clara stared at him. He was telling the truth. She could feel it. "You're not what I thought," she said softly. "No," Eli said. "I'm not." There was a long silence, the hum of machines, the pulsing of light, and the sound of two hearts, suddenly beating just a little faster. Clara took a step closer. "You could have let me walk away, but you showed me this." "Why?" Eli hesitated, then spoke. "Because I think you're not what you pretend to be either. You mock others to hide the questions you carry, and I see it in your eyes. You don't fully believe the lies you were raised on." Her throat tightened. He was right. She hated it, but he was right. "Then what now?" she asked. Eli reached out. He pressed a switch on the pedestal. The terracore opened. A soft voice spoke. "Emergency alert. Harvester scout ship detected near Sector 9. Possible contact imminent." And stepped back. "They found you." Eli looked calm. "I knew they would. It was only a matter of time." She stared at the glowing sphere, then at him. "What do you want me to do?" Eli looked her in the eye. "I need someone I can trust." Her breath caught. In one night, everything had changed. The human boy she mocked. He was the first real soldier she had ever met, and the future of the galaxy might depend on him. The cold air inside the chamber wrapped around them like a secret. Clara's heart was still racing, not because of fear, but because everything she believed had been shaken. Eli stood near the data crystal, his eyes calm but sharp. He was waiting for her answer. She finally spoke. "I'll help you, but you have to tell me everything." Eli nodded once. He pressed a button on the panel beside the terracore. The room dimmed. A large hologram filled the air. It showed Earth, not the green and blue planet from the school records. This Earth was covered in shining towers, its orbit filled with defense grids, space docks, and dark stealth ships. Clara's mouth opened slightly. "This is not the Earth we learned about." "No," Eli said, "because you learned what we wanted. You too see. This is what Earth truly is now. A hidden fortress, a sleeping giant." She watched in silence. Massive ships, dark as shadows, moved across the screen. They had no flags, no names, only one symbol. A silver circle, broken by a red line. "What is that mark?" she asked. Eli replied, "It's the sign of Project Terrafiri." She turned to him. "What is Terrafiri?" He took a deep breath. "It started 2 centuries ago, after the first Harvester War. Earth almost fell. Millions died. We realized we couldn't win with open strength, so we changed everything." Eli walked slowly across the room, voice steady. "We went dark. We erased ourselves from maps, shut down communications. We let the galaxy think we gave up. But in secret, we trained a new generation, born under pressure, raised without comfort, taught one goal: survive the next wave." Clara looked at him. "And you're part of this generation?" "Yes," he said. "I was born in a gravity bunker, trained to walk through fire. We're called Shadows of Earth. We don't exist on paper, but we're everywhere." She stared at him, the quiet boy in the back of her class. The human she once called weak, now felt like a storm wearing human skin. "What does Earth want now?" she asked. "Why send you here?" Eli turned off the hologram. He stepped closer. "To find out who can stand with us. The Harvesters are back. We don't have time to convince whole governments. We need people, leaders, fighters, those who still have courage." Clara crossed her arms. "My people don't trust humans. They'll never follow Earth." "I know," Eli said. "That's why I didn't come to speak to your council. I came to speak to you." Her heart skipped. He said it so simply, so directly, like he meant every word. She looked away. "This can't depend on me alone." "Maybe not," he said, "but every war starts with a choice, and sometimes that choice belongs to just one person." There, Was a long silence between them. Then the crystal pulsed again. A new alert. Harvester Scout signature confirmed. Approaching outer field. Distance, 2,300 light seconds. Clara's eyes widened. They found you. Eli shook his head. They didn't find me. They found the academy. She turned quickly. You said it was a scout. Will it attack? Eli nodded. Scouts don't come alone. It's scanning now. In 2 days, the others will follow. Panic flickered in her eyes. Hundreds of students. Thousands of lives. No one here is prepared for war, she whispered. Exactly, Eli said. That's why I need you to get me into the central systems. We need to activate the emergency defense grid. Earth tech can power it. She stepped closer. If I do this, what happens after? Eli looked at her gently. After that, you'll have a choice. You can go back to your people, or you can stand with mine. She didn't speak, but her silence was not refusal. Suddenly, a beep echoed through the room. Clara turned to the side console. A message blinked on the screen. Unauthorized signal, detected in archive logs. User Clara. Her eyes widened. We're being tracked. Someone saw me access your profile. Eli's jaw tightened. They'll send someone soon. We need to move. He pressed his hand on the wall. A hidden door opened behind the TerraCore. Inside was a narrow tunnel. This leads to the core network, he said. We can avoid the main halls. Clara hesitated, then followed him in. As the door closed behind them, the lights faded. They walked in silence through the tunnel. The academy above remained peaceful. But war had already begun, and somewhere deep in the stars, the harvesters were coming. Clara looked at Eli's face in the dim light. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't loud. He was human. But not just human. He was a soldier from a forgotten world. A shadow from a planet the galaxy had left behind. And in her heart, a strange feeling began to grow. Not fear, not anger, but trust. And something more. The tunnel walls were silent, cold, and metallic. Clara walked beside Eli, her footsteps light, her mind heavy. She had entered this place full of pride. Now, she followed a boy from a forgotten planet into the heart of a secret war. They reached a metal hatch. Eli placed his palm on the panel. It opened at once. Inside was a narrow control chamber, glowing with old Earth technology. Unlike the Academy's smooth, polished systems, this tech looked raw, exposed wires, humming panels, designed for speed, not comfort. Clara stepped in and looked around. This doesn't look like a school facility. That's because it's not, Eli replied. This room was installed before the Academy was even built. Earth placed it here, hidden under the surface, waiting for the day we might need it. Clara walked to a screen showing a rotating symbol. The Earth logo, a circle, divided, marked in red, the sign of Terra Fury. She turned to him. Tell me more about you. Eli hesitated. Then he spoke. I was born on Mars, but I never saw the sky. I grew up inside training domes. The pressure was high. Gravity was crushing. We trained from age 5. Clara listened, quietly. Eli's voice wasn't dramatic. He didn't boast. He simply remembered. We weren't allowed to cry, not because it was weak, but because every drop of water had to be recycled. We learned pain. We learned silence. Clara stepped closer. And what about your family? I never knew them, he said softly. Some of us were born in labs. Others were orphans of the first harvester attack. Our instructors told us we didn't need names, just focus. She watched his eyes. They didn't tremble, but they held something old. You said your mission was to observe, she said, but I don't think that's the whole truth. Eli looked at her. No, it's not. He walked over to a reinforced crate. Inside was a black suit of armor, compact, foldable, Earth-designed. He picked up a small cylinder, pressed a button. In Seconds. The armor snapped around him. Like a second skin, his figure changed. Slightly taller, broader, his movements faster, sharper. Clara took a step back. "You're not just a soldier." "No," Eli said. "I'm a protector." He turned to her. "When Earth went dark, we left behind agents. Some hidden in governments, some in schools. I was placed here because Zircona is a major target. If the harvesters want to reach Earth, they'll strike through here." Talara stepped closer. She reached out and touched his shoulder armor. It was warm, strangely alive. "You've been carrying this alone," she whispered. Eli looked into her eyes. "I didn't come here for friends or praise. But now, you're the first person who's ever seen me." Her breath caught, not from fear, but from something deeper. "I mocked you," she said. "I laughed at you in front of everyone." Eli gave a small smile. "I've had worse." She laughed softly. It felt strange, but good. Then the moment passed. The screen in the corner lit up again. Scout signal confirmed. Shield perimeter breached. Countdown to contact. 18 hours. Eli turned serious. "We don't have much time." He moved to the central controls. Typed in a code. A new set of screens opened. Blueprints of the Academy. Defense grids. Hidden weapons. Earth tech fused into the bones of the station. Clara looked amazed. "All this time, you've been watching us from the inside." Eli nodded. "I wasn't the only one, but I might be the last, still active." Suddenly, a voice came through. The comms. Static, faint, but clear enough. "Echo 1, this is Command. We see you. Orders updated. You are cleared for full reveal. Initiate Phase 2. Talara stepped back. "Did they say? Full reveal?" Eli looked at her. "It means the Academy will soon learn the truth. They'll know Earth is not what they thought, and they'll have to choose sides." She paused. "And if they choose wrong?" He didn't answer. But she understood. He would fight. He would protect, even if it meant standing alone. Clara looked at him again. Not as a classmate, not as a human, but as something more. "You said the blood in your veins was made for war," she said. "But I think it's more than that. I think it carries something the rest of us forgot." "What's that?" Eli asked. "Hope," she said. "Even in silence, even in pain, you never gave up." Eli looked away for a moment. Then he whispered, "That's what it means to be human." They stood in silence. Two enemies, now allies, brought together by truth. A light on the screen flashed red. Unregistered ship detected near Moon's orbit. Clara narrowed her eyes. "That's not a scout." Eli's expression turned sharp. "No, that's a vanguard." He reached for a pulse rifle hidden in the wall, powered it up. "We need to get to the upper decks, warn the others, and prepare." Clara followed him to the exit. Before stepping out, she turned and asked, "If I fall, will you remember me?" Eli stopped. He looked back. "I'll remember everything, because this is where the war began." The Academy lights flickered as the Vanguard ship drew closer. Sirens began to hum softly in the distance. A warning too gentle for the danger coming. Eli and Clara rushed through the side corridors. Students still laughed in the common halls. Professors sipped Cynthiae, reading their lesson plans. No one knew what was coming. Clara touched her comlink. "Security Council, respond. This is Clara's Irene. We have an emergency. A hostile ship is approaching." The line cut off. She tried again. Nothing. Eli stopped mid-run. "They've already breached the signal grid. That Vanguard ship isn't here to spy. It's here to shut us down before we can respond." Clara turned to him. "Then we sound the alarm ourselves." They reached the command center. Two guards stood outside, confused by the alert. One of them stepped forward. "Excuse me, students aren't allowed here without..." Eli moved fast. Too fast. He pressed a point on the guard's wrist. The armor shut down. The man froze. He turned to the other. Open the door, now. The second guard hesitated, eyes wide. Then he stepped back and tapped the panel. The door slid open. Inside, 10 officers turned to look. One of them stood. Who are you? Clara stepped in. Listen. To me. We are under threat. A harvester vanguard is in orbit. This is not a drill. Murmurs spread across the room. Laughter. Doubt. But then Eli walked to the central console. He inserted a small black shard into the port. The room darkened. A new interface bloomed across the walls. The seal of Earth. The files of Terrafiri. The truth. Gasps filled the space. Someone dropped their datapad. Eli spoke calmly. My name is Eli Cross. I am a Terrafiri shadow operative, rank Epsilon. This academy has hidden Earth tech under its floors since its construction. We knew this day would come, and now it has. One officer, pale and trembling, stepped back. This is madness. Earth was erased from command systems. This is some kind of trick. Eli turned to him. You erased us. We just chose not to come back. The floor shook beneath them. Not a tremor, a strike. The vanguard ship had begun its assault. From the outer windows, a black shape loomed over the academy's dome. No lights, no sound, just cold steel. Then, dash impact. Explosions cracked through the left docking ring. Flames rushed through. Sector 4. Screams followed. Shields are down. Someone shouted. They disabled the external defense. Clara stepped forward. Then activate the internal grid. Use the Earth system Eli brought online. The command officer hesitated. This is Academy protocol. We can't just hand it over to another explosion. This time, the floor split. Eli's eyes flashed. We don't have time for your rules. He grabbed the interface and pushed a set of Earth-encoded commands. Screens shifted. Towers extended from the Academy's roof. Turrets powered up. The Academy began to fight back. Clara turned to the windows. Sleek plasma bolts shot from the new turrets. One of them hit the Harvester's outer wing. It barely scratched the ship, but it bought them seconds. We can't win this from inside, Eli said. I need to get to the hidden launch bay. Clara looked at him. I'm coming too. He paused. You don't have to. She stepped beside him. I already did. They left the command room together. The halls now swarmed with students and officers running in every direction. Flames licked the walls. Oxygen leaks hissed from broken vents. Eli led her down an old maintenance shaft. He moved like he had walked this path 100 times. He probably had. They reached the base of the Academy's substructure. Behind a sealed wall was a hidden platform. Eli placed his hand on a symbol. It glowed. The wall opened. Inside was a ship unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Black, sharp, fast, built for war. Made on Earth, Clara whispered. This is beautiful. It's also the last of its kind, Eli replied. Every system is silent, undetectable. We built it for missions where failure meant extinction. He stepped inside the cockpit. Clara followed. As the ship hummed to life, the walls sealed behind them. Above, the Harvester fired again. Part of the Academy dome shattered. Artificial gravity collapsed in parts of the station. We need to draw that ship away from the Academy, Eli said. I'll pilot, Clara offered. I was trained at 12. Eli raised an eyebrow. I was trained at 5. She grinned. Then let's both fly. The engines roared. The bay opened into black space. The Harvester ship turned slowly, scanning for new threats. Then it saw them. The Earth ship flew upward, at full speed. It dodged incoming beams. It returned fire. Smart. Precise. Deadly dot inside the cockpit. Clara and Eli moved as one. Every glance, every shift, perfectly in sync. A beam scraped their wing. The ship spun. Eli gritted his teeth. I'm going to board it. Clara looked at him. Are you insane? Probably, he said. But I've done worse. He moved to the rear exit chamber. Get me close. Just 10 seconds of cover. She stared at him. You could die. He smiled. I've trained for death my whole life. But I've never had a reason to live until now. He looked into her eyes and she understood. Not just duty. Not just war. This was personal now. Clara turned back to the controls. 10 seconds. That's all you get. The ship charged toward the harvester. Eli stood by the door, pulse blade in hand. As the enemy hull approached, he whispered only one thing. For Earth. And for her. The hatch blew open. And Eli jumped into the stars. The vacuum of space surrounded him. Eli's body spun through zero gravity, only moments away from death. The harvester ship loomed above him like a giant steel god. Black, silent, waiting. His armor tightened around his body, adjusting to the drop. The magnetic boots kicked in. He slammed into the harvester's outer hull, hard. But he held on. Clara's voice came through his cum. Eli, are you alive? Mostly, he answered, catching his breath. I'm on the hull, going in. He activated a thermal blade. The orange edge of the weapon glowed as it cut into the ship's shell. Sparks flew into space. Inside the cockpit, Clara dodged laser fire. She weaved between floating debris, keeping the enemy distracted. Her hands moved quickly over the controls, but her heart was with him. She couldn't see him anymore, only a small green dot on the radar. Then, the dot blinked. Eli, she called again. No answer. Eli crawled through a vent inside the harvester ship. The walls were alive. Not metal, something else, like muscle, like bone. He had heard stories that the harvesters were once machines. Now, something more, something worse. As he moved deeper, the ship's interior pulsed around him. Red veins along the walls, moist air. Like he was inside a living beast, he whispered into his cum. I'm inside. It's part machine, part ... organic. They've evolved. Clara's voice came back, softer now. Be careful. Eli reached a central chamber. At the center stood a glowing black sphere. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. This was the command node. Destroy it, and the ship would collapse. He stepped forward, gripping his blade tightly. But then he heard it. A voice. Low, cold, inhuman. You are too late, child of Earth. From the shadows, something stepped out. It was tall, covered in dark armor fused to its skin. Its face was smooth metal. No eyes. Eli's heart tightened. A reaper. The elite soldiers of the harvester race. He had never seen one in person. Until now. You should not have come, the reaper said. Earth cannot stop the fire that is coming. Eli didn't answer. He lunged forward, fast and silent. The blade struck, but the reaper blocked it. Fast, too fast. They fought in the dark, blade against claw, strength against speed. Outside, Clara watched the battle through her ship's sensors. The command node inside the enemy ship was still active. Then something new appeared. Another harvester ship, larger, stronger. Her heart sank. She turned the ship away and opened a wide channel. This is Clara of Zyrene. I need assistance. We are under attack. Any Earth fleet in range, respond. Silence. She screamed into the void. Where is your Earth now, Eli? Where are your shadows? Then the stars blinked in hundreds of ships emerged from behind the nearest moon. Black, sleek, human. The voice came through. This is Earth Command. Response Team Eco-9 reporting. We have your signal. Engaging the enemy now. Clara covered her mouth, her eyes filled with tears. They had come. They were real. The sky lit with fire. Earth ships clashed with the second harvester. Lasers, missiles, blades of plasma. And still, she waited for one voice, one name. Inside the enemy's ship, Eli fought on. The reaper struck his shoulder. Metal tore into skin. Blood floated into the air. Eli dropped to one knee. Pain burned through his body. The Reaper raised its weapon. "You are alone, human." But Eli smiled, through blood and broken bone. "I was made alone, but I'm not alone now." He slammed the emergency beacon into the command core. A sharp pulse burst out. The entire ship screamed. The Reaper stumbled. Eli charged, driving the blade deep into the Reaper's chest. The metal shell cracked. Black liquid poured out. The Reaper collapsed. Eli pulled back, barely breathing. He whispered into his comm, "Clara, it's done." The Harvester ship began to break apart. Fires spread through the walls. Systems failed. Clara flew her ship close. She opened the hatch. "Jump, Eli, now." He ran through collapsing halls. The blast doors sealed behind him. He jumped into the dark, toward her. She reached out from the cockpit. He landed hard, rolled, and looked up. Clara was there, eyes wide, hands shaking. "You're bleeding," she said. He smiled weakly. "But I'm breathing." She grabbed him by the collar and kissed him. Fast, fierce, real. When she pulled away, he whispered, "You didn't have to do that." "I know," she said. "I wanted to." Behind them, the Harvester ship exploded. A silent flower of fire bloomed in space. The Earth fleet surrounded them. The Academy watched from below. For the first time in centuries, Earth had returned to the stars. And at the center of it all, a boy from Earth and a girl from Zyrene held on to each other, not because they had to, but because they chose to. The battle was over, but the galaxy had changed forever. From orbit, the burning wreckage of the Harvester ship slowly drifted. Shattered metal, twisted limbs, pieces of a nightmare turned to dust below. The Academy floated in silence, its once proud walls now scarred and broken. Emergency teams rushed through its halls. Smoke, ash, and silence hung in the air. But among the broken glass and flickering lights, life still moved. Hope still breathed. In the medical wing, Eli lay on a bio table. His left arm was wrapped in black earthweave bandages. Chest bruised, cuts along his jaw. But he was alive. Clara sat beside him, her armor dented, face smudged with ash, but her eyes never left him. Not once. He stirred, then slowly opened his eyes. "You look terrible," she said softly. Eli gave a faint smile. "I'm sure you look worse." They both laughed, weak, tired, but real. Silence settled again. Then she asked, "Why did you really come here, Eli?" He looked up at the ceiling. The soft lights reflected in his eyes. "At first, I came because Earth told me to. I had orders, a mission. But then I saw what this place really was. How disconnected everyone had become. How proud. How blind." He turned to her. "And then I saw you. And I knew Earth didn't just need soldiers. It needed allies. People who could feel, who could lead, who still had fire inside." Her lips parted slightly. "And you think I'm that person?" He reached out. His hand touched hers. "I know you are." Outside the Academy, Earth ships hovered in formation. They didn't hide anymore. They didn't run. They were visible to every camera, every broadcast. Every alien channel. Earth had returned, and it brought strength with it. In the Central Council chamber, leaders from dozens of species gathered. Holograms flickered. Tension crackled like static. Clara stood before them, not just a student now, not just a royal, a survivor, a witness, a voice. "My people once laughed at Earth," she said clearly. "We saw them as weak, primitive, forgotten." She looked around the room, but in our moment of crisis, it was Earth that came. It was their ships that answered, their warriors who bled beside us. Some council members shifted in their seats, uncomfortable. She stepped forward. "The galaxy doesn't need more pride. It needs unity. The Harvesters are not gone. They will return, and when they do, we cannot face them divided." Silence filled the room. Then a voice spoke, low, deep. It was a representative from the Draylan Empire, once enemies of Earth. What are you asking for, Clara of Zyrene? She didn't hesitate. I ask that we stand with Earth, that we stop hiding behind politics and titles, that we prepare, together. Whispers, murmurs, doubt, and then, a voice from the Earth Commander echoed across the room. You feared us. So we stayed in the shadows. But no more. We are not your rulers. We are your brothers. And we will bleed beside you if you let us. It was not a demand, not a threat. It was an invitation. Clara looked toward the stars beyond the glass dome, and slowly, one by one, hands were raised. Not all, but enough. A beginning. Back in the medical wing, Eli stood beside the observation window, his wounds still healing, but his posture strong. Clara walked up beside him. The council agreed. A united defense is forming. Earth has a seat now. Eli nodded. I never wanted to be a hero. I just wanted to make sure humanity wasn't forgotten. You've done more than that, she said softly. You reminded us what it means to be human. He turned to her. And you reminded me that we don't have to fight alone. There was a long pause. Then she asked, what happens now? He looked out at the stars. Now, we rebuild, we train, we prepare for the day the stars burn again. She smiled. And until then, Eli looked at her gently. Until then, we live. They stood together, hands touching. Two souls from different worlds. No longer enemies. No longer strangers. The academy slowly lit up again, not just with power, but with purpose. Earth had returned to the stars, not to conquer, but to stand. And beside them stood the brave, the once proud, who now knew humility, the once blind who now saw the truth. The stars had burned once, and they would burn again. But this time, humanity would not burn alone.